Thank you so much for the invitation. I promise I'm not singing this year. There's no music video, so it should go better. So my disclosure, I call it a volunteer consultant because I did consulting, but all the money went to a 501c3 directly, so I saw none of the money. When I sat down to do this talk, I immediately got an urge of hunger, procrastination hunger. So I decided to make myself a little snack. And as I was eating my bowl of butter, I started to research quality. Don't knock it until you've tried it, it's good. The definition of quality in the dictionary is pretty basic. So then I thought, could this talk be as easy as finding quality butter? You taste butter A, you taste butter B, and then you say butter A, quality. Butter B, not quality. But as it turns out, it's a little bit different in healthcare. It's a little more complicated. So I started researching more, and I found this, the foundation, the core principles of healthcare quality, called the Donabedian model. I don't know if you have heard of it. I hadn't heard of it before. Basically, Dr. Donabedian in the 1960s started this, and he talked about three key components: structure, process, and outcome. And for decades, he did work on this. But the question really is, how does social media fit into all of this? As I started to research more, I got even more interested in the topic because, as it turns out, the father of quality in healthcare and I share something in common. We have the same cultural background. Whoa. Share my Armenia slide. Okay, so throughout the decades since he started his work, a lot of regulatory agencies have been coming up in the United States. And what they do is they measure quality, they define quality for us, they come up with these quality measures, and they try to tell us what's going on. But what ends up happening is that we got all these graphs and metrics and diagrams and charts. And some of them are helpful, but we really get inundated by all these metrics and things that people are throwing at us. And we have something what I like to call graph fatigue. So what does hernia and social media and quality have to do with all this? So I started thinking, maybe we can measure quality using social media and not use any graphs for this. So let's see about that. No matter what platform you use, social media does have some things in common, and there are some advantages. For example, information dissemination is free, it's fast, efficient, widespread. There's no time, no location constraints. It actually can transcend socioeconomic barriers. Another real advantage is collaboration. So why is peer collaboration important? Where there have been some studies done on the importance of collaboration. One of them is that informal peer interactions actually had surgeons get higher scores on MOC exams back when it was, once every 10-year exam. Another paper talked about increasing vicarious learning through social media, basically not having to reinvent the wheel and learning from other people's mistakes instead of making your own. A third study actually showed improved robotic simulation scores after peer feedback on social media. And finally, there have been some studies that show that collaboration on social media fosters communication, enhances learning and development, and it may facilitate the achievement of clinical excellence. Here are those studies if you want to read more in depth about them, but what I want to go through is a real-life example. So most of you guys have heard of, or you might be part of the IHC, the International Hernia Collaboration, which is a closed Facebook group of over 7,000 surgeons that all have an interest in hernia surgery, most likely. Surgeons use IHC in various ways. You can ask your peers about challenging cases. You can teach techniques or learn through other people's techniques through videos. You can discuss complications. You can make announcements about conferences and courses. And surgeons around the globe have access to this, which makes it really nice. So just to give an example of a case that I posted that I was going to do was a large incisional hernia after a kidney transplant. With the new kidney in the way, I wanted to know what tips and tricks were available for me to do this case better. And lots of good experts like Yuri Novisky gave me some good advice. Possibly not A, but the rest of his advice was pretty good. And I used that advice, and the case went well, things went smoothly, and I have the advice to thank for that because I used their experience to make this case better. So then I posted it, that way other people can read about it in the future when they search IHC, and then they can learn from that as well. So the question is, did social media improve the quality of hernia care that this patient received? I think the answer is yes. And that's because it increased my knowledge of this particular operation. It prevented me from reinventing the wheel. It did provide a better hernia operation, and the patient had a good outcome. So I wanted to know, am I the only surgeon that feels that way, or do other surgeons agree with me? So I put an IHC poll out that asked, does social media of any kind improve the quality of hernia care that you provide? And I tried to make a 5-point Likert scale, which apparently doesn't work that well on Facebook. But it worked well enough where I got 227 responses. And 97% of the surgeons thought that social media did improve the quality of care that they provided for hernias. And I got some pretty nice comments too, including this one that says, IHC has changed hernia CME from a meeting once a year to 24/7. So just to break it down a little bit, I think that social media increases surgeon collaboration, which then increases our knowledge and skills and leads to better outcomes, which then improves quality. So maybe it's time that we redefine quality. So I want to take us back to the father of quality in healthcare. So when he started his work, it was the 1960s. Then decades changed healthcare dramatically. So in the year 2000, a few months before his passing, this is what Dr. Donabedian, who is a leading expert his entire career, had to say on quality. Systems awareness and systems design are important for healthcare professionals, but they are not enough. They are enabling mechanisms only. It is the ethical dimensions of individuals that are essential to a system's success. Ultimately, the secret of quality is love. You have to have love for your patient, you have to have love for your profession. So we go back to this question, can we measure quality without graphs? And I think that we can. We can measure some aspects of quality by asking surgeons, do you think that this particular practice improves the quality in your particular field or your practice as it is? So maybe it's time that we take some of the focus away from graphs and put a little bit more focus or use the perspective of the surgeon and the patient to figure out what quality is. Because if a surgeon tells me that they think something improves the quality of care they provide, I think that counts. Their opinion matters. Our opinion matters. So I think that we should focus on that a little bit. I don't have fancy graphs to show you, but I think that matters. So inspired by Dr. Donabedian's work, I started to think, how can I make a difference on a bigger scale to improve hernia quality care? And the answer was clear. So then came about the comprehensive hernia and abdominal wall reconstruction course that's going to take place in Armenia in July of this year. And this conference would not have been possible if it wasn't for social media. Because here I am, a surgeon in Los Angeles, far away from Armenia, and I've only actually been there once in my life, and I need to do a course over there. So IHC came to the rescue. Before then, I had met Vlad Burdikov through social media, and I just met him at this conference for the first time. And he's a really talented young surgeon from Russia. And Vlad knew that I was interested in doing hernia education in Armenia. So when he met a surgeon from Armenia, Levon Grigorian, he thought of me right away. And what he did was he connected me to Levon, who has been pivotal in helping me set up this course. And now we have this course set to be on July 3rd. And if it wasn't for social media or IHC, I don't think any of this would have been possible. The amazing faculty that I have coming to the meeting, I know most of them because of social media. So I think I have that to thank. We're going to go there, and hopefully we're going to improve the quality of care that happens in that part of the world as well. So let's go back to the first question. Can social media truly improve quality in hernia surgery? I think it can, and it does so through peer interactions, collaboration, continual learning. It improves our day-to-day surgical practice, and we do it for the love of our profession and for our patients. And I'd like to end this talk by inviting all of you to learn some quality hernia education in the 2018 Country of the Year, Armenia. And while you're there, if you have any questions about quality in social media, these Armenian women will be able to answer it better than I can. Thank you.